is the fruit like this? Why is the shape like this? You get irritated, no? It was so difficult, and I had brought him to Abu Dhabi that time. First time we are coming to Abu Dhabi.
Sairam, shall we start? Sairam Utramji?
Sister Bharati.
Sairam, shall we start?
We can start, but Sister Bharati is
Sairam,
she there?
shall we start?
Sairam, can you hear me? Sairam?
Sairam, yes, I think somewhere else also maybe that YouTube, some issue. Brother Sitaram, how the echo is coming?
You're waiting for Sister Bharati.
Is when a person comes, that means when you calm your mind and fix and adopt a heart focus, it is all from your heart.
Sajeev, Sairam.
Sairam, I think, Brother Satya, Sairam, sir, I think from your mic it is the other. Yes,
Sairam Sajeev. Sairam Sajeev. My summary is a little too high, too big, but I'm still trying to edit every day. So I will get it to, because I think 5 minutes may be too little, because 19 sections, it's like every sentence is like a Mahavakya, I'm trying to.
Sairam, it's okay. Actually, I think we may, how much time it is taking?
I don't know. Let me check it today, but definitely I need to edit it. I will edit every day, little by little, and then see how far we can go till Thursday, Friday. You know.
Okay, sir.
But today I will present the second or third draft which I have made.
Okay.
Last draft, but still it is too big. I will try to edit it every day and then get it to 5 to 10 minutes maximum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Just bear with me. Let me check with Sister Bharti.
Sir, I am calling her.
Okay, okay.
Look at the colors, okay? Very bright.
Saram, how we will start? Sister Bharati will start with the prayer. Then better, then she can be just call me for the welcome speech.
What I thought was you can open the thing saying that let us start with the 3 Omkars and the invocation. And then she can do the 3 Omkars, and then probably I think she can do the Vakratunda, and then Sahana Bhavatu and the Guru, this thing, and then you can take over. Because since you are the host, you just open the thing by saying this, and then because people may not know Bharati and all of us,
No, that is not required. No, because she will start with the prayer only. Because otherwise, you want.
I mean, you have to say one sentence only. Let us, Sai Ram to all, and then let us start with the invocation.
Okay.
Something like that. Then she will do that, and then you can get into your normal introduction.
Okay.
It's like you are welcoming, just a few words.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I don't know. Just check with Satyaji. What is your
Satya Sairam, Satya sir?
Yeah, same there. Okay, that's okay.
Or we can be start with the Sister Bharati's prayer, and she can be invite me. Usually we are putting somebody to anger, but this time we are not considered that.
Yeah, correct.
I think Sister Bharati joined. Sairam, today we will not put the background. Background will be ready by tomorrow only. So we will request, we will do one more session either tomorrow or Tuesday after the bhajan. One more session for the background and everything. Muthuramanji sir, it's okay, no?
Yeah, okay. So tomorrow is Monday. Monday, we don't have anything, right?
We don't have
Yeah.
anything, but I am not sure it will be ready by tomorrow. If you
We
get
can keep it on Tuesday after the bhajan. That is
Yeah, we'll keep it up.
because Sister Bharti also said she has some vratam and all that tomorrow. So we can keep it on Tuesday evening, Tuesday after the bhajan or before the bhajan. I mean, depending on this thing. We can keep
After
it
the
on
budget,
Tuesday.
we'll keep it
Yeah.
for we'll finish it immediately. By 30 minutes, we'll finish it. Only
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
Saram, but today you have to switch on the video.
Yeah.
So, Saram, the video background has to be set now, or it is okay, sir?
No, video background, that's what just now Sajeev said it will be ready only by tomorrow or Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
You have it on Tuesday then.
Saram, the background will be ready only by tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Satyaji, your face is really glowing.
Oh my God. It's very close.
Surya Koti Samaprabha. It is shining, the reflections. The reflections.
Not like that. The reflection is because of my head is reflecting. Not face. Saram.
Saram, actually, what we'll do now, first we'll start. I'll just call Sister Bharati for the prayers.
I'm already logged in.
No, sister, I'm just telling how we'll start today. But I spoke to Vikramji, I love you, and what he's telling, somebody has to invite. So that's the reason I just want to be change the format. Might be okay. I will do what Brother Muthuramanji told. No, I'll just start the meeting and then I will tell. I'll call Sister Bharati. Then I will.
Yes, Sister Bharati will do the Vakratunda, then Sahana Avatu and Guru Brahma, and then hand over back to Sajeevi.
So, do we have to rehearse it now?
Yeah. Sister, we have to do how we are doing on Friday, the same way. This is including everything. Actually, including my welcome address, everything we are including today.
Okay.
Yeah, there will not be any stop or anything. We'll start it and we'll finish it with the summary of Muthuramanji. And then Brother Kamal, if the out of thank is ready, you can do it. Otherwise, we'll request them to be for next time. Brother Kamal? Saram, Brother Kamal?
Sairam, sir.
Sir, you can do the out of thanks today, no?
Yes, sir. I've
Okay.
just prepared a small draft, sir.
That vote of thanks and introduction can be changed on and the welcoming address can be changed as per Vikramji. We can change on Friday also, but we are just doing how the pattern is.
Okay. Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. And Brother Sitaramji, that day after vote of thanks, Brother Kamal will request for the closing prayers. Then we have to do the Arati and closing prayer. Not today.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
Sir, last time we had posted the presentation right in the group. Will we be doing the same thing? Because I had just highlighted that, okay, presentation of today's session is available and will be posted in the chat.
Saram, we will get a master presentation. We'll make today. We will individually they are presenting, and after that any corrections and all. Tomorrow we will do the master presentation.
Okay. Because I just wanted to know whether to add that into the conclusion or not. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that if any changes we can be do the Tuesday. We will discuss about that.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Saram, Muthuramanji, anything else to be?
I think that should be okay.
Yeah, Saram, what I will do, like I'll just tell Om Sri Sai Ram. I'll start with 3 Oms and then I'll tell Om Sri Sai Ram. Today we are starting our session with prayers. I'm requesting Sister Bharti to do the chant the prayers.
Yeah.
Then Sister Sai Ram, Sister.
Sairam, I don't need to chant the Omkaram. Only I'll start with direct Vakratunda.
Yeah. Yeah, that's but anyway, I start with Omkaram, so might be you can start the Vakratunda.
Okay.
Sir, it's okay, no, sir?
Yeah.
And then, sister, you can, after completing, you can just tell like you are handing over the floor to Brother Saji for the welcome address.
Yes. Brother Saji for welcome address. Okay. So you will start with Omkaram and then can you just tell me where immediately I'll start with Vakratunda, no? We don't have to switch on our video, no? That will be a great relief.
Actually, we had to switch on the video.
We have to switch on, so we need to have the background as well.
Yeah, background will be there, but not today. We'll do a separate session for how to be prepare the background on Tuesday. The background is not ready actually.
Oh. Okay. So in the beginning you will start with 3 Omkars and then you will you will say that you will be I'll be taking over and I will be chanting the mantras and then I'll chant the mantras and I'll then
I'll likewise, sister, I'll start with 3 Oms, then I'll say my humble and loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami. Now I request Sister Bharati to chant the prayers.
Okay, so after my last prayer, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, then I'll tell that I'll hand over the floor to Brother Saji for the welcome address.
Instead of that, let Sister Bharati start, no? That all the things, 3 Om, and then handing over back to you. That is okay.
Yeah, that is actually my request was that only, but then
Yeah.
we told to do this.
Okay. Because that will be again is very okay. One second.
Mutravan sir.
Otherwise, whatever is the protocol, it's okay.
That's
okay.
That will have the continuity. No, that will have.
We can avoid the confusion actually.
Confusion.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So she will. There is no need of telling that prayers and all the things. Then she will start with the Om and have all Saganavadu and Guru Brahma and Vakratunda. Then after that she can say that over to Brother Sajiva. That.
Okay.
Then Sajiv can say that. Maybe Bharati also can say that my humble pranams of the lotus feet of Bhavan, or you want to just stop it there.
So, sister, but I think
no, I'll start with the mantra, but before the speech, and I'll start with mantra only directly. So before the speech, I would like to just say that offering my humble pranams.
Sister, that also might be not be recorded because Mutramanji is starting the panel this one. So you can be started like this.
Okay, so I'll just say with prayers to Bhagwan to let his divine words, thoughts, and message of this higher learning flow through all of us today.
Yes.
So because like some kind of
pranams should be there. Correct.
Pranams.
Now how is that? Then she will start.
How will I start? I'll start with the. I'll just. Do we have time now?
Yeah. Sure, we have.
So I'll just start with 3 Omkars. Om, Om, Om. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti शांति शांति गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर् साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. From here,
Yeah, from here you
should
can
I-
say that. Om Shri Sai Ram, you can start,
Om
sir. Sir, you can start from here, Sajeev sir.
Yeah. Here she can.
From here you can start. Om Shri Sai Ram.
So I
From here
need
you
not
can start.
tell anything like
No, no, no,
immediately
no,
at the
yeah.
mantram he can start
Yeah,
offering
yeah.
my
Tasmai Sri Guru. Yeah. Then after that, Om Shri Sai Ram, you can say, sir. That will have continued.
Somebody has to hand over the floor, no?
No need, sir. That is not a handing over floor. No. Here
Okay.
only there's no speakers.
We
are
are
given.
just
Then after that,
starting
Om
with the
Shri Sai Ram.
mantra.
Okay.
Yeah. After
Om
that,
Shri
you are
Sai
just
Ram.
telling Om Shri Sai Ram. Yeah. Om Shri Sai Ram, my humble pranams. Then you can start.
Okay. That is nice. Okay.
So, sir, I'll just say thrice Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha so that you know Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So immediately you can start. Sajeev sir. Maybe
Okay, sister. Okay, Sarah, my mic was muted. Saram, Mutramji, anything else we need to be check it now?
Sir, I forgot to ask Saram, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
The camera will be on, sir, for the speakers.
Yeah, sure. The camera should be on.
today we don't need to on the camera, no?
Actually, how we are presenting on that day, no, same way they want to be do it today.
Oh, we were not ready actually because
Okay, sister, for you, just I'll tell you them. Okay, no problem.
yeah, the dress code is very important, no? So
Okay, sure, no problem. Okay. Today might be.
For us men folk, it is easy.
yeah, yeah.
Sai, if you can be share the same this one now, no?
I shared, sir. I can share once again.
You shared already?
Yeah. It should be there.
Okay, I'll check it.
If not, let me know, sir. I will put it again.
Okay.
I'm putting, sir, for your reference.
So you can put for everybody, or how does it?
Sundar, you can also make it, no? That same background.
I didn't get the background, Sarah.
He shared in the group, no?
It's in the group.
This is in the group.
Okay. Let me.
Sairam, Sundaran, like one small question. The
Yeah.
transition thing that day you told, no? So, so it's like we have to just share the screen, and before that itself, the PPT should be in the PowerPoint, right?
Yes, it should be in the presentation mode.
It should be in the presentation mode now itself, so that when we take over, that glitch will not be there.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry.
And then keep it on as soon as you are, the person just beside, before you are, there is a talking, right? Before the transition. At the time you keep it on, you start sharing, then it should be okay.
Sorry. Let us say, before my previous speaker will be talking, right? With their
Correct.
presentation.
Correct.
Yeah. So once they finish, I have to take over, no?
Yeah. Once they finish, then there will be a transition, right? I think Brother Muthuraman or Brother Satya will be asking you a question.
Yes.
So at that time, you start your sharing.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Sairam, now I am sharing one YouTube link. If you have a second PC, no, Sister Bharati, that can be on switch on the use that YouTube link, because
Sajiv, whoever joining in the Zoom, better not to do it right now because it will give echo. They have to be careful.
Yeah. No, second PC I'm asking, not the same.
Yeah. They have to mute the mic, otherwise that echo will come here into this.
Okay, sure.
I am testing it on another phone. Anyway, it looks okay only.
No, I also tested it. Good. It's okay.
Yeah, even I am checking it. It looks good.
So in next time we will share only the YouTube link to everyone. Only who are the participants will have the Zoom link. So brother, that's the confusion, no?
Yeah, I'm just making it. I'm just forwarding it to my laptop.
Then, sir, like any channel, I hope that should not impact this. It's a normal Zoom, right? It's not like a channel and rules and all.
Sitaramji?
No,
we'll check, sir. Tomorrow we'll see that.
Yeah.
I hope, personal account, I remember this challenge was there. So we will see after this whether to take it up.
We will.
Yeah.
Sairam, the background, the picture, okay, the logo, I think if we make it up, it will be good, okay, because it is down.
Sairam, it is not ready yet. We will making this one by tomorrow.
Yeah. That file is in the office, sir. So we will get it done tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Sairam, brother Satyapalji and brother Vikramji already joined. So shall we start the session?
No, brother, please start, Sairam. Vikram here. You can start.
Muthuramanji?
Yeah, there is one small thing. Satyaji has to go to hospital to take her mother, so I will just do the questions on her behalf today.
Sure. Vikramji, actually, brother Satya and brother Muthuramanji were controlling the presentation, but Satyaji have an emergency. So Muthuramanji.
Understand.
So, Mr. Bharati, let's start it.
Vakrit सर्वदा ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर् साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
My humble and loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami and praying to Swami for his presence throughout the program. Respected Sound Chair Brother Suresh Menon, Central Coordinator Brother Satyabal, Deputy Central Coordinator Brother Christian, Zonal Spiritual Coordinator Brother Vikram, Brother Satyanarayanan, Vice President Abu Dhabi, Regional Committee members, Sri Satyasai Global Council Abu Dhabi Management Committee members, senior members of the organization, dear brothers and sisters. Sairam to all, welcoming all for today's special study circle on Vidya Vahani. Dear brothers and sisters, what is the importance of Vidya Vahani series written by our beloved Swami? In the 10th chapter of Sloka 32, Bhagavan Krishnan, in the 10th chapter, Sloka 32 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishnan declared, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Among all the kinds of knowledge, I am the Atmic knowledge. This is the importance of this book. Here the God himself explaining about the Atmic Vidya. The world can be saved from suicide only through this Atmic knowledge. The search for the truth and totality for the unity and purity is the means. The awareness of one is the consummation of the process. This is the essence of the most of the discourses of Swami delivered during his avatarhood. In the 19th chapter of Vidya Vahini, Swami wrote that education should be used as an effective instrument for establishing peace and freedom in us and on the earth. Today, our panelists are going to explore the nectar of Vidya Vahini. The panelists are Brother Muthuraman, who is currently serving as Sundaram Group convener. Previously, he was the SSC coordinator of Sri Satyasai Organization Abu Dhabi. Brother Satyanarayanan, National Council Vice President. Brother Sai Jaran, who is the youth coordinator of SSGC Abu Dhabi. Brother Sundarbalan, who is serving as the media coordinator. Sister Bharati, Bhajan coordinator of Shivam Group. Sister Vidya, our SSC deputy coordinator and Sai Arabia editorial member. Swami told that he is presiding the study circle wherever it is happening. So I am welcoming Swami to preside today's study circle. With this prayer, I am handing over the floor to Brother Muthuraman for the further discussion on Vidya Vahini. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Sri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan. Sai Ram to all my brothers and sisters. Swami says the word Vidya means that which illumines, and Vahini means stream. So Vidya Vahini means a stream of knowledge which illumines us. Learning is of two kinds, namely the higher learning, Paravidya, and lower learning, Aparavidya. Lower learning deals with the worldly knowledge, like the modern sciences, and it is subject to changes. Higher learning deals with the knowledge of the self, and it is not subject to change. Even the higher knowledge, which includes all our scriptures, like the Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, they are all taken in as a lower learning at the outset. But when one goes through the process of Shramanam, Mananam, Nidityasanam, and putting into practice and derive direct experience, then it becomes higher learning. Swami says the soul of education is the education of the soul. And in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam, meaning among all kinds of knowledge, I am the Atmic knowledge. Swami says the proper study of mankind is man, because man is the crown of creation and he has the ability to seek answers to the source from where he has come and the answer to the question, who am I? The everlasting joy, freedom, truth, knowledge, and fearlessness have to be sought by the jiva by going within and studying and analyzing itself. The search for truth and totality, unity and purity is the means. The awareness of the one is the consummation of the process. This precious book contains 19 essays that Swami wrote in answer to appeals from the devotees on the subject of Atma Vidya. Now we shall hear from Sister Bharati on how we can gain this knowledge of the self and what are the qualifications required to acquire this knowledge. Over to Sister Bharati.
Om Shri Sai Ram. With prayers to Bhagavan to let his divine words, thoughts, message of this higher learning flow through all of us today and to all our fellow devotees. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya. Sai Ram, I'm not able to share my screen.
Yes, you have made post now. Yeah, you can start.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Purnat, from that complete, referring to the Supreme Soul. Purnam, to this complete, referring to the individual soul. Udachyate, has emerged. Still the complete remains unaltered. That is the reason why our scriptures have exhorted that fill your vision, drishti, with jnana, wisdom. Only then can you see the srishti, that is the creation, filled with Brahman, the Supreme Absolute. Our great rishis of bygone days were seers of mantras, the powerful divine words. That is why the Veda is called that which is heard, Shruti. Mystics and sages possessed great wisdom which is beyond the purview of senses and learnt not only the secrets of creation but the creature as well. The Upanishads declare this truth. Isa Vasyam Idam Jagat. Spiritual education teaches, renounce the feeling of mine and thine, and leave the attachment to worship and feel the presence of Lord everywhere. When one attains this supreme wisdom, that is the highest level of Vidya, the distinction between opposites such as Atma and Anatma, Vidya and Avidya, Vikasha and Vinasha fade away. Let us now hear from Bhagavan these words of wisdom.
మనసు మాలిన్యములనెల్ల మట్టుబెట్టి మనసు మాలిన్యములనెల్ల మట్టుబెట్టి పరమ పరిశుద్ధ భావము పాదుకొనుప జ్ఞాన దృష్టియు నేర్పడి కానబడును విశ్వమంతయు బ్రహ్మమై వెలుగునటులా విశ్వమంతయు బ్రహ్మయై వెలుగునటులా ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా,
embodiments of love. Swami, in his infinite love, has always addressed his disciples as Divyatma Swarupulara, Prema Swarupulara. From the very beginning itself, Swami has addressed us and explained to us that we and God are one and the same. The same divine, we are the spark of that divinity which is latent within us. While some have maintained that God exists, and there are those who have denied his existence, Bhagavan lovingly reminds us, and a very apt description of God is also given in the Bhagavad Gita as Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan, that is to say, smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. The all-pervasive Brahman remains the eternal witness of all. Brahman is Atma and Atma is Brahman. God appears as per the wishes, devotion and faith of the devotees. An example of water, which in itself does not have any form, but can be reflected through the tumbler from which it is poured. Similarly, God incarnates in each and every avatar to reveal his true form, divinity. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam samshayatma vinashyati. Bhagavan says that only those who have faith in the self will attain this knowledge of self. For this, there is the example of coal which cannot be washed with soap, water or milk. The only way to get rid of the color, form and shape would be to put it into fire, which will turn into white ash. Similarly, by removing the dirt of desire and attachment, can the awareness of Brahman be gained. Pious souls like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Saint Tukaram and Mirabai are adored by followers of all faiths to this day. The reason being their unshaken faith in the Atma. Only through the purification of mind, one becomes an ideal guru, only whose thought, words and deeds are in unison. Manasekam vachasekam karmane ekam mahatmanah. Just as Guru Ramakrishna, he stops eating sweets or refrains from having sweets in order to preach the child to desist from eating sweets. Only these pious people can speak exactly what they felt or experienced. Bhagavan says that we need to heed to the advice of these realized souls and correct our behavior. When our faults and failings are not corrected, either by our own efforts or by heeding the advice of his realized souls, our life will sting, just like a fruit, if not consumed or give away, will rot. The iron filings, which are covered with dust and rust, cannot be attracted to a magnet. Similarly, if we do not cleanse our mind or purify our mind, we cannot be attracted to the divine. Jantunam narajanma durlabham. Human birth is rarest among animals. Nara, man, must become Narayana, Almighty God. Swami says in order to realize this truth, only human beings are bestowed with intelligence to fulfill the four Purusharthas and Dharma. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. This birth should not be wasted in materialistic pursuits. And this can be gained by karma, bhakti and jnana, which are the steps that leads man in his spiritual pursuit, which can also be described as work, worship and wisdom. A man's body is like a water bubble and his mind is like a mad monkey. Bhagavan says, Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. The mind is only the cause for a man's rise and fall in life. If it turns outward, it leads to bondage. And if it turned inwards, it leads to liberation. So we should not follow the body, we should not follow the mind, follow the conscience, which is our master. We need to have constant integrated awareness. Follow the conscience, which gives us the 3 different kinds of knowledge. Real, pratyaksha, like doing service, bhajans. Paroksha, for example, meditation, in which we are not making use of the aksha or other senses. And aparoksha, in which neither the senses nor the mind nor the intelligence work. Still we gain that knowledge. It's called the direct perception, direct realization of the self. Aparokshanubhuti. We need to have 4 minimum qualification requisites, that are Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, acquiring the 6 virtues. Shama, molding or regulation of mind. Dama, control of senses. Uparati, withdrawal of desire. Titiksha, forbearance. Shraddha, faith and devotion in that absolute self. And Samadhana, self-contentment. Only a mumukshu can have the intense longing for liberation to gain the mumukshutvam. But Bhagavan says that in today's knowledge, do we get this kind of spiritual education? Modern education develops the intellect and it imparts skills, but does it promote qualities in any way? Education today is only for material gain. It is for living and not for self. In today's world, dhana, the pursuit of riches, is the right path. And to illustrate this, there is this short story of Narayana and Lakshmi, who descend on earth as scholars, enlightening people on Atma through their discourses. Narayana's scholarship attracts people and thousands gather to hear him. Meanwhile, Lakshmi also starts enlightening people through her discourses, but she gains more popularity as she leaves valuables like gold plates and cups in return for the feast which the devotees offer. The Brahmins, who were staunch admirers of Narayana, also start inviting Lakshmi to their homes. Thus she manages to get Narayana, who is in the guise of Pandit, driven out of each and every place where he seeks recognition. So what do we understand by this story is that today's knowledge and education is only for monetary gain. Bhagavan says that the education which we gain here for years together, which we study, ends in this birth itself. But the spiritual education will be carried forward in all our future births. The kind of education which we have, is this the proper kind of education? Let us now hear from Bhagavan what is the proper education that we need to have.
ఈనాడు ముఖ్యంగా ఈ హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూ చాలా అవసరము, మానవతా విలువలు చాలా అవసరం.
Today human values are very, very necessary.
మానవతా విలువ హృదయం నుంచి పుట్టేటువంటిది.
The human value comes out of the heart.
మనకు మనం ఆచరణలో పెట్టేటువంటిది.
It is the one that will take us to practice.
ప్రతి విషయాన్ని కూడా మనం ఆచరణలో పెట్టి ఇతరులకు బోధించండి.
Every matter we must practice first and then teach.
అంత సులభం కాదు.
It's not that easy.
కానీ కష్టపడాలి.
But yet we must struggle.
కష్టే ఫలి.
Out of struggling only you will have result.
ఎంత కష్టపడాలి?
You should work hard.
ఒక కార్ డ్రైవింగ్ నేర్చుకోవాలంటే ఎంత కష్టపడాలి?
To learn driving you should work hard.
అట్లనే హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూ కూడా నేర్చుకోండి.
Similarly learn human value.
ప్రాక్టీస్ ఇవ్వండి.
Practice it.
శ్రేయో హి జ్ఞానం అభ్యాసాత్.
Without practice you cannot have
జ్ఞాన
anything.
ధ్యానం విశేషతే. ధ్యానాత్ కర్మ ఫలత్యాగ. త్యాగశాంతి అనంతరం ఒకటి అభ్యాసం. వాకింగ్, టాకింగ్, రీడింగ్, రైటింగ్, ఈటింగ్ అన్ని త్రూ ప్రాక్టీస్.
So walking, talking, reading, writing, everything comes out of practice.
కనుక హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూ కూడా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి.
So practice human value.
కూర్చో, ఒక దినం పొద్దున్నే కూర్చో.
Sit down in the morning.
మరే నేను పిల్లలకంతా చెప్పాను.
I am teaching students.
నేను సరిగా చెప్పానా?
Did I teach well?
నా కాన్షియస్ తృప్తిగా ఉందా?
Have I satisfied my
నేను
conscience?
చేస్తున్నానా?
Am I practicing?
ఈ విధంగా ప్రతి దినము కూడాను తనకు తాను పరీక్షించుకోవాలి.
Like this, everyone should examine one's own
తనలో
self.
ఏమైనా దోషం ఉంటే రెండో దినం దాన్ని సరి చేసుకోవాలి.
If there is any mistake within him, he should correct next day.
ఈ విధంగా పోయినప్పుడు దేశమంతా కూడాను ఎంతైనా దీనిని ఆకర్షించి అందరూ గౌరవిస్తారు.
If we go like this, it will attract the whole country and earn the respect of everyone.
సత్యసాయి కోరేటువంటిది ఒక్కటి.
Satya Sai desires only one thing.
అందరూ మంచి పడాలి, మంచిగా ఉండాలి.
All should be good. All should be good.
లోక సమస్త సుఖినో భవంతు.
This universe should be happy.
Bhagavan says that education confers vinaya. Only through humility one acquires the right to engage in professions, and that authority confers prosperity. Education, spiritual knowledge involves, along with humility, tolerance, and discipline. It destroys arrogance, envy, and all kinds of vices. It imparts absence of pride and egoism. Detachment is one of the greatest virtues that spiritual learning imparts. Mother is our first guru. Father and teacher, all the three are primarily responsible for molding the future of the country. In 5th chapter, Bhagavan tells us that along with spiritual education, spiritual discipline is also necessary. An example of which is given with our body, which is a temple of God, as a tree, and love of self is the root. Desires are the branches. Joy and grief are the fruit that it offers. Our qualities, attributes, modes of behavior, the innate nature is based on the basic nature and are the flowers. In order to balance our mind and body, first of all, we have to keep our mind still, calm. We have to react less and reflect more. We need to meditate. In order to keep our body fit, we have to have balanced diet, sattvic food, and be compassionate. Soul is the Jivatma, which experiences the divine from the vasanas which it carried forward, which it has taken from all the births. And the spirit is that divine spark which is in each and every one of us. So Bhagavan says that desire breeds wishes, and one who does not have a trace of desire for material objects can only achieve the awareness of Atmic reality. He concludes in chapter 5 saying that the spiritual learning vidya stabilizes good thoughts in our minds and thus rises to the stage of supreme reality, that is Atma Vidya.
Thank you, Sister Bharati. Swami always says that our thought, word, and deed should be pure, but sometimes we experience incompleteness. Now I request Brother Sundar Balan to explain the causes of our fortunes and misfortunes.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Our present condition of incompleteness is a consequence of thoughts, feelings, passions, and acts of past lives. So too, our future condition is being built based on our present deeds, thoughts, and feelings. Thus, we are the cause of our own fortunes and misfortunes. A human can visualize God only as a human. God appears in human form in answer to human prayer, since humans can experience only that vision as real. A human imagines the divine principle as a cosmic perfect person, Purusha, with human limbs and human qualities. Only the Great One, who has the Atmic truth imprinted on the heart, is to be accepted as Guru. And only the individual who can welcome this truth and is eager to know it is to be accepted as people. Some gurus have far higher stature and far deeper capabilities than the learned and cultural masters, the avatars. They are the human incarnations of God. By mere willing, they can confer the blessing of spiritual strength. Such people are the gurus of all gurus. They are the highest manifestations of God in human form. Spiritual education is in reality experience of the truth as well as awareness of the truth. Pleasing oratory should not be mistaken as experiencing the truth. The ancient culture of India, the Sanatana Dharma, is acclaimed of supreme value, not merely by Indians, Bharatiyas, but by people of all lands. The reason for its universal renown is that it is based on the Vedas. Vedo kilo dharma moolam. The Vedas are the source of all principles of morality or dharma. The Vedas are the treasure chests that contain all the duties and obligations, rights and responsibilities that one has to accept and abide by in life. Dharma implies all the prescriptions for actions and attitudes that are needed to preserve the status one has gained as the highest among animals and living beings. Advice for peoples in following the culture of Dharma. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, No Itarani. Consider mother as God. Consider father as God. Consider preceptor as God. Speak the truth, act righteously. Do not adopt other ways. The Vedas and the Upanishads are referring only to these commands when they lay down that we should utter Shanti, 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 peace, 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 when we pray for peace on earth. We must protect the mind so that attachment, passion, and excitement do not enter it. The waves that rise in fury in it are the 6 inner forces of man: lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride, and envy. The first 2, lust and anger, bring the remaining 4, greed, attachment, pride, and envy, in their trail. To release ourselves from the first 2 and thus proceed on the spiritual path, we have to practice spiritual discipline. We learn these practices through spiritual vidya. Faith is important. The union in yoga is between dharma and divinity. The more such evils as lust and anger breed in a person, the greater the diminution of the divinity. That is to say, faith in the Atma will decline fast as the evils develop. Faith is all important. Faith in one's reality as being the Atma is the real spiritual knowledge. Vidya. Purity of thought, word, and deed. Take refuge in God and wield the bow of courage. That is, hold the heart pure, that is enough. Victory and wealth are yours. As long as you follow worldly illusion, Madhava is being ignored and is out of sight. You cannot win his vision. You will be caught up in the coils of birth and death and be ever in bondage. From this atmosphere of dependence, one must endeavor to release oneself. Let us hear about the purity of thought, word, and deed from the divine voice of our beloved Bhagavan.
With reference to our heart, our head and our hand, we should prove ourselves as a model, as an ideal, and as an example. ఆధ్యాత్మికమంతా కూడా కేవలం ఆడంబరంగా రూపొందుతూ ఉంటుండాలి. Today all our spirituality is becoming only a big show. కావాల్సిన ఉపన్యాసాలు చెప్తున్నాము. We are delivering very big speeches. కావాల్సిన సేవలు చేస్తున్నాము. We are also undertaking భజనలు సల్పుతున్నాము. We are also doing bhajan. ఇంకా అనేక విధమైన సాధనలు చేస్తున్నాము. And many more things. ఎన్ని చేసి ప్రయోజనం ఏంటి? మూడింటి యొక్క ఏకత్వం కాక. Without bringing about unity between thought, word and deed, what is the use of doing any number of things? ఈ సత్వరజో తమో గుణముల యొక్క ఏకత్వాన్ని మనం అనుభవించాలి. We should experience the unity of sattva, raja and tamo gunas. మనకు ఆనందము. Then only we are full of bliss. ఆత్మ సందర్శనం. Then only we can get the vision of Atma. ఆత్మకు ప్రత్యేకంగా ఒక చోటుకు మనం పోనక్కర్లేదు. Atma cannot be found in a different place. ఈ ఆత్మ ఒక చోటు నుండి ఒక చోటుకు కదిలేటువంటిది కాదు. Atma is not one which moves from one place to another place. దైవం ఎక్కడి నుంచినో ఎక్కడికో వచ్చి దర్శనమిస్తాడని భావించరాదు. We should not consider God comes from one place to another place. సర్వత్రా ఉన్నటువంటి వానికి ప్రయాణం చేయవలసిన అవసరం ఏముంటుండాలి? When God is all pervasive, where is the need for him to travel from one place? పోగలం లేనటువంటి యొక్క శక్తి దైవత్వం. Divine power is one which does not have comings and goings. కనుకనే మనం ఆచరించినప్పుడు ఈ ఆనందానికి మనం అర్హులమవుతాం. When we practice things properly, we become entitled for experiencing the bliss. ఐకమత్యం కావాలి. There is need for unity. ఏకత్వంలో మన ఆనందం ఇమిడి ఉంటుండాలి. The entire bliss lies in unity.
Need for spirituality. Evil traits like hatred, envy, greed, desire for pompous display, and for comparison and competition with others. All these evil traits have to be uprooted. What does the world need today? It is neither a new order, a new education, a new system, a new society, nor a new religion. The remedy lies in a mind, in a heart filled with holiness. Success in this task can be achieved only through knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya. Need for spirituality. One should know that not even an iota of genuine happiness is derivable from the three worlds, the three divisions of time, and the three levels of consciousness in daily life, that is, wakefulness, dream, and sleep. When discrimination is employed, the truth is revealed that the family or the world cannot give genuine happiness. Only the Atma can give the blessing of genuine happiness. Therefore, one should learn the process by which one becomes aware of one's Atmic reality. Spiritual knowledge, Atma Vidya. By learning and living it, you can quench a thirst and help to quench the thirst of all mankind. Work done with no concern or desire for profit, purely out of love or from a sense of duty, is yoga. Such yoga destroys one's animal nature and transforms one into a divine being. Selfless service, seva, is far more salutary than even vows and worship, puja. Service disintegrates the selfishness latent in you, it opens the heart wide, it makes the heart blossom. As one undertakes selfless service more and more, one's consciousness expands and deepens, and one's Atmic reality is more clearly known. This ideal of selfless service and the urge to practice it form the very heart of education. One who is conscious of the basic duties and obligations and spends days in carrying them out in practice will be in supreme peace, wherever one may be. Service has to be rendered as an essential part of the process of living itself. This is the real core of spiritual education, Vidya. Service as dedicated worship. Service should be rendered to others without expecting anything from them in return. Activity, karma that binds is a huge, fast-growing tree. The axe that can cut its roots is this. Do every act as an act of worship to glorify the Lord. This is the real sacrifice, yajna, the most important ritual. This sacrifice promotes and confers knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya. Spiritual learning, Vidya, instructs you to remember first yourself. After transforming yourself, try to reform others. That is the advice offered by spiritual knowledge. Genuine spiritual devotion, bhakti, is characterized by love for all, at all times, everywhere. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Brother Sundar Balan. What the world needs now is peace. Now, Sister Vidya, could you please throw some light on how we can derive this peace?
Yes, brother. From selfless service is derived peace. And peace is a state everyone aspires to reach. Now, how do we get peace and how do we reach there? For this, we have to develop love for God. How do we develop love for God? There are 4 steps. First, give a form to God. Then, we need to enshrine this form in ourselves. Thirdly, we must engage in service and good deeds. When we engage in service, this helps to earn people's gratitude. And when we earn people's gratitude, we cleanse Achita, which is our consciousness. Thus, by focusing on our own spiritual growth through service and through remembrance of God, we become exemplars. We become examples for people to follow in life, and thus, by focusing on our own spirituality, we cleanse the society at large. Now listen to the importance of purifying our mind in Bhagwan's own words. Now, from our mind, Bhagwan says what we derive is happiness. And what are the kinds of happiness? There are 3 kinds of happiness. The first one is sattvic happiness. This is derived through the awareness of the Atma. This kind of happiness, highest kind of happiness, it gives you bliss which lasts forever. But the sadhana to reach here is a difficult path. It is not a bed of roses. And we need to have a disciplined sadhana to arrive at sattvic happiness. But what is the result? The result is equanimity, which is nirvikalpa samadhi, and bliss, which is ananda. This means the state of consciousness in which we will be devoid of thought, where the mind is still, where there is silence in the mind. Such a mind can give you sattvic happiness. This type of happiness is rajasic. This is caused by the impact of external objects on the senses. With time, this pleasure turns bitter and it no longer gives you happiness. Rajasic joy, one's strength, awareness, intelligence, and enthusiasm to reach the goal of life, which is moksha, becomes weak because we give priority onto the sensory object. Coming to the third type of happiness, which is tamasic, this arises from ignorance. A dull, tamasic person ignores the path that leads to moksha and completely misses out on the purpose of life, which is indeed a pity. So what is the solution to this? To lose out on the purpose of life is indeed very unfortunate. And the solution to this lies in the modern education. Let me explain modern education through an imagery. Like in the picture, the trees spread the branches very far and wide, but they can yield fruits and flowers only when the roots are watered. Similarly, educational system must focus on imparting faith in the Atma and believing in God. Let us look at the meaning of the word vidya. Vidya is made up of two root words, ya plus vid. Ya means what and vid means life. And this kind of education leads one from darkness to light. That which gives light is vidya. This knowledge of the Brahman is the real knowledge. That's why it is called Brahma Vidya. The ancients considered knowledge as light and ignorance as darkness. So all who journey along the path of progress have to purify their consciousness and illumine themselves with Brahma Vidya, which is the knowledge of Brahman.
Mr. Vidya, we know from our history, we used to have this Gurukula system of education in India a few centuries ago. Now we have this secular education in our schools. Could you please throw some light on the differences between these two types of education?
Yes, brother. Having been born as humans, along with material-centered education, efforts must be directed to acquire spiritual education, which is education for immortality. So the difference between the educational system is worldly education is giving you a degree from which you expect a job. And from this job, we get food for livelihood and a comfortable materialistic living. But the happiness provided from worldly education is rajasic and tamasic happiness. On the other hand, spiritual education, where knowledge of Brahman is taught, leads you onto the path of dharma. This is the food of the soul, and the joy that you get out of it is sattvic happiness. It is bliss, and it is everlasting. So this is the difference between spiritual education and worldly education. Now, what is the essence of spiritual education? What are the requirements? And the first and foremost requirement is that you need to have faith in the Atma within you. Because faith is the very breath of life. Where there is no breath, you become a corpse, a shavam. And when you have this faith, when you have this breath in you, then you become divine, which is Shiva. And the faith in Atma alone can make a man complete, make him Purna. And real education must arouse this faith in the Atma to make a man Purna. Another essence of the spiritual education is we can look at nature around and derive examples to know what are the qualifications. For example, trees don't eat their own fruits. Instead, they offer them to be eaten by others in an attitude of detachment. Similarly, rivers, without drinking water, carry and quench the thirst and cool the heat which others suffer from. Cows offer their milk produced primarily for their calves in a spirit of generosity born out of renunciation, which is tyaga. These are the qualities required for a spiritual aspirant to achieve Brahma Vidya. Another essence of true education is humility. We must all be humble in our endeavors. And finally, and most importantly, one must vow to be of service to others. We must view service as a yagna. Only then can we become noble men, sajjana, and only then can we be called truly educated. Saira?
Karam sir. Muthuraman sir, are you here?
I'm sorry, I'm muted it. Thank you, Sister Vidya. We spend a lot of our time and energy in getting this worldly education. Now I request Brother Sai Charan to explain the ultimate goal of education and how we can achieve this.
Sairam, everyone. The goal of Vidya, which is spiritual education, can be summarized into one line, that is Adveshta Sarvabhutana, which means bearing no ill will against any of the living creature on this planet Earth. As said by our beloved Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmani Gavihastini, Sunichaiva Swapakecha, Pandita Samadarsinaha. The knowledge seeker should treat everything and everyone alike. And we as a students, Swami talks about two important characteristics, that is outer cleanliness and inner cleanliness. Brothers and sisters, you might have read about a lot regarding outer cleanliness and inner cleanliness and how to achieve them. But our beloved Bhagavan emphasizes one very important point, which is, let us say, if any of these both, either outer or inner cleanliness, is absent in our personality, then will not be eligible to perform any of the spiritual sadhanas. So let us see what exactly outer cleanliness is and how to achieve that. Outer cleanliness means not only keeping our surroundings clean, but maintaining whichever objects which are coming across our life, to maintain them neat and clean. And regarding inner cleanliness, the main goal of inner cleanliness is to keep our mind free from dirt, serene and pure. So how to achieve inner cleanliness? Swami says in one simple way, that is examining our situations and actions very thoroughly, and just the touchstone is very simple. Will Bhagavan will accept this action or not, or thought or not? Then automatically our mind will be clean. So that is how the inner cleanliness has to be achieved. And both of these qualities are very much important for any student in his life. And Swami emphasizes a lot about an evil quality which students always should keep in mind to avoid, which is envy. So when envy is present in students' mind, automatically it leads to hatred. So these are the two important qualities which always need to be shed by students, and they can act as twin villains which can destroy our entire personality. So this utmost care has to be taken by students to avoid these both characteristics of envy and hatred. And Swami says that avoid eyes that seek evil, ears that relish evil, tongue that craves evil, nose that enjoys the foul, and hands that delight in evil. So Next, Swami always talks about self-confidence. Self-confidence is a foundation for our character. The person or a student who does not have self-confidence cannot believe in his mother, cannot believe in his father, cannot believe his guru, cannot believe his teachings, cannot believe in Shastra, his country, and even God as well. That's why self-confidence plays a very vital role in one's life. And the best way to achieve the self-confidence is to blindly follow our Shastras and read the stories of the great characteristics who are following Dharma, and thereby grasp the inspiration from them and how self-confident they are. So following our Shastras is the best way to achieve our self-confidence. Regarding sense control, there are three beautiful gifts to mankind, which is mind, which can think, speech, which can express our thoughts to the outer world, and the power of action. And always, mind, there are two important aspects of mind, which is very important to understand. We as human beings always think that mind only one activity, which is thinking, but it is not. Mind is having two attributes or two functionalities. One is thinking, alochana, and the inner dialogue, manasik sambhashana. Our beloved Bhagavan has given very beautiful example, and he has drawn such a thin line to understand the difference between these two, and which is very important to control our mind. So let us understand what exactly thinking means. Thinking, alochana, means problem solver. Problem solving nature of our mind, or a progressive nature of mind to move ahead in our life, is one of the activity called thinking. But the inner dialogue, manasik sambhashana, means it always creates confusion, and it will encourage lethargy, or it will encourage even the unethical means to achieve any task. So that is the manasik sambhashana. And our entire Shastras, and the main goal of the entire Shastras is to minimize. It is little difficult, or it can be impossible for a early stage sadhaka to reduce this manasik sambhashana. But Swami says that we have to minimize this inner talk or inner dialogue to the as minimal as possible. So what are the best ways to minimize or curb this manasik sambhashana is through certain spiritual practices. The first step is to do some pranayama and intense involvement in seva activities through which can accumulate good karma, and then followed by Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, which are the one kind of Navavida Bhaktis. So if you follow these kind of spiritual practices regularly and thinking very consciously about the difference between what our mind is doing, which is either it is doing a progressive thinking or it is stopping us, then obviously it will be very easy for us to reduce this manasika sambhashana. And this next gift for our human mankind is speech. So speech is a very vital and beautiful gift given to human beings. But the best way to use our speech carefully is by purifying the speech. And surprisingly, the best way to purify our speech is to keep it. We always by keeping it silent. So silence will always encourage the purity of the speech. Let us see in Bhagavan's words how the sense control can be achieved.
Though they have no Padamutina, అందరికీ కళ్ళు ఉన్నాయి. Oh God, all have eyes. కానీ ఆ కళ్ళతో నేను చూడగలుగుతున్నారా? Those eyes they will reach you. వికారంగా చూడగలుగుతున్నారు. They see all dirty things. కుటుంబమైనటువంటి జీవితాన్ని పాటిస్తున్నారు. They have a narrow way vision. కనుక నీ యొక్క దృష్టిని చూసేటువంటి కళ్ళే నా కళ్ళు. They are only the true eyes that look at you, that watch you. చెవులు ఉన్నాయి. ఈ చెవులంతా గురివారి శుద్ధులంతా వింటున్నాయి, కానీ దైవ చరిత్ర వినడానికి ప్రయత్నించడం లేదు. The ears listen to the gossip, vain talk, but not glory of God. కనుక మన చెవులు ఏ విధంగా ఉండాలి? How should be our ear? మంచి సంచారం చేయాలి. Ears listen to మంచి పవిత్రమైన దివ్యమైన భావాలు వినాలి. Ears listen to ప్రపంచం యొక్క సందేశాన్ని చక్కని రీతిగా, సుఖమైన రీతిగా, మంగళకరమైన రీతిగా నడిచేటువంటి విషయాలను వినాలి. We should listen to those things which are auspicious and sacred. ఇవి వినడానికి చెవులు ఇచ్చారు. Ears are gifted for that purpose. కానీ ఊరి వాళ్ళు శుద్ధులు వినడానికి కాదు. To listen to gossip. ఇండియా గురించి చక్కగా గ్రహించుకోవాలి. So we should have sense control.
So after listening to the Swami's discourse or small talk about the importance of self-control, we can continue on the third important gift of our mankind, which is power of action. So the important gift to our human being is to execute our actions. Unfortunately, we as human beings always think that our happiness is due to our own actions, and even misery is due to some other situations, but it's not the truth. Both happiness and misery are caused to us only by our own actions. So the best way to avoid any of the calamities due to our actions is to direct our actions into the proper lines as guided by our Shastras. Then only our actions can be pure and will not lead us to any bondage when it is offered to Swami. So the goal of the students will be learning so many lessons in their life, and they will be listening to so many things in their life. But at the end of the day, lessons learned always should be converted into the action. That is the proper important quality of a student who is the seeker of the education. So the goal of the education is to realize the divine behind everything, divine beneath all. As Swami always emphasizes on one principle, that is brotherhood of man and fatherhood of God. The goal of the education should begin with this principle, and also should end with this principle of realizing the divine beneath all, or at least realize the importance of brotherhood of man and fatherhood of God. Then only our education will be fruitful. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Brother Sai Charan. First, Swami says, knowledge of the supreme principle is known as vidya. Sound is the very core of the Veda, and sound is associated with harmony and melody. So the Veda has to be heard and ecstasy derived therefrom. It is not to be analyzed or commented upon or judged. And Vedanta is the consummation of Vedic thought. The Vedas themselves are invaluable guides towards the highest. When the non-material world is known, both worlds reveals themselves as partial expressions of the same indivisible consciousness, Chaitanya. So the two supplement each other into one fullness, Purnam. From the full Parabrahma, the individual Jiva arises. When the individual sheds the material corpus in which it is encased, the eternal universal consciousness is again the one fullness, the Parabrahma principle. The education process teaches that the cosmos is a manifestation of the Lord's sport and nothing else. Therefore, no one can entertain a sense of personal possession or even a trace of egotism. Renounce the feeling of attachment and feel the presence of the Lord everywhere. Give up the feelings of I and you. Only then you can understand the glory of that which is neither I nor mine. The real teaching directs that the world be dealt with as the duty demands, but in a spirit of detachment, avoiding entanglement. Atma has no movement, but it is present everywhere. The Atma is immutable and omnipresent. When one attains the supreme wisdom, the distinction between the opposites, Atma and not Atma, spiritual knowledge and ignorance, growth and decay, all fade away. Now, talking about the knowledge of self, Swami says only Atma Jnana or Brahma Vidya will destroy the darkness of ignorance and the dirt of desire. Holy people like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa are adored by followers of all faiths and natives of all lands, and the reason obviously lies in their unshakable faith in the Atma, won through purification of the mind. So spiritual knowledge alone conferred on them the purity and the clarity. When our faults and failings are not corrected, either by our own efforts or by heeding the advice of sympathetic souls, then our life will stink. The sign of a great soul, Mahatma, is unity in thought, word, and deed. And the harmony of these three is the best proof of the worth of humanity. Now, knowledge is of two kinds, as Swami says, inner and outer, direct and indirect, real and apparent. Now, outer knowledge is gained through the ear and the sense organs and through the words of others. Whereas the inner knowledge, which is the true knowledge, knows no plurality. It analyzes and understands the attractions and the objects that haunts the mind. It purifies the mind and widens the visions of the heart. Now, talking about modern education, Swami says today the educational system has ignored instructions in morals, whereas in the Gurukulas of the past, instruction was provided for right living, spiritual advancement, and moral conduct and behavior. So students were trained to lead lives marked by humility, sense control, virtue, and discipline. Now, these qualities are not recognizable among students, and the students are not aware of the means or the meaning of sense control. Now, teachers have to bear a major share in fostering and preserving the mental and physical health of their tender, innocent wards. This is what Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara said, fill your vision with wisdom, then all you see will be God. When the drishti is filled with jnana, then the srishti is filled with Brahman. The highest goal of Bharat has been Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. So we need to eliminate pride and egotism, and we develop detachment and eliminate desire. Anger will pollute the earned wisdom. Unbridled desire will foul all actions. Greed will destroy devotion and dedication. So the root cause of anger is desire, and desire is the consequence of ignorance or ajnana. So what has to be got rid of is this basic ignorance. Now, speaking of spiritual discipline, Swami says, spiritual education is the root of faith in every faith. It prepares the mind of man to appreciate and adhere to the faith and to direct man's living along that course. Talking about the human body, Swami says, man is made of threefold composite of body, mind, and spirit, Atma. As a consequence, the man has three natures in his makeup. One is a low animal nature, two, a human nature replete with worldly knowledge and skill, and third, the genuine nature of man, namely the divine Atmic nature. Becoming aware of this third nature and establishing oneself in it, this is the spiritual education. Now, education reveals the good and bad, and the desires and thoughts, they cause birth and death. Desire breeds wishes, wishes cause birth and death. When one is devoid of desire, one need not go through birth and death. In fact, the desire to know God, to love God, and to be loved by God does not bind. When awareness of God dawns in all its splendor, every worldly sensual desire is reduced to ashes in the flames of that awareness. Your thoughts play a vital role in shaping your life. That is why you are advised to watch your thoughts and to welcome only good ones. So spiritual learning stabilizes good thoughts in the mind and thus rises to the status of knowledge or the supreme reality, Atma Vidya. It is one's karma that elevates or degrades one's status. Death does not affect the Atma, which has no death and it cannot be destroyed. Therefore, one should not fear death. When the yearning for living ends, there can be no more birth. Talking about pupils, gurus, and avatars, Swami says only the great ones who has the Atmic truth imprinted on the heart is to be accepted as a guru. And only the individual who can welcome this truth and is eager to know it is to be accepted as pupil. On the culture of dharma, Swami says, The knowledge of the manifested universe confers the means for living. Knowledge of the other world confers the goal of life. So the knowledge of goal of life involves inquiry into why are we here? What do we really have to do to deserve this chance of life? And where are we to become? What are we to become? So the most beneficial way for man to live in this world is to live a regulated and disciplined life. Real education must train one to observe these limits and restrictions. Swami says of all professions, the teacher's profession has to be adhered to the ideal of truth. When teachers stray from truth, society meets with disaster. The ancient culture of India is acclaimed as of supreme value, not merely by the Bharatiyas, but by people of all lands. The reason for this universal renown is that it is based on the Vedas. The Vedas are the treasure chests that contain all the duties and obligations, rights and responsibilities that one has to accept and abide by in life. As an advice for the pupils, Swami says, consider mother as God, consider father as God, consider the preceptor as God, speak the truth, act righteously, do not adopt other ways. Talking of loving service, Swami says, work done with no concern or desire for profit, purely out of love or from a sense of duty is yoga. Such yoga destroys one's animal nature and transforms one into a divine being. Selfless service is far more salutary than even vows and worship. Service disintegrates the selfishness latent in you. It opens the heart wide. It makes the heart blossom. One who is conscious of the basic duties and obligations and spends days in carrying them out in practice will be in supreme peace, wherever one may be. Through one's influence, the neighborhood also will share that peace. The secret of ensuring peace and prosperity for mankind is rendering service to others without expecting service from them in return. You have to develop humility to believe that you have much good to learn from others. Treat each trouble you encounter as a fortunate opportunity to develop your strength of mind and to toughen you with greater hardihood. The characteristics of nature is to manifest as manifold. The characteristic of the divine is to absorb into unity. So spiritual knowledge instructs one to become established in this truth and demonstrate the underlying divinity. Swami says, don't just listen, practice and experience. So what you have listened to must be later reflected upon, and that has to be imprinted on the mind, and it has to be experienced and expressed in thought, word, and deed. Only thus can the truth be a treasure in the heart. Only then can it flow through the veins and manifest in full splendor through you. So the yearning for truth must be deep and persistent. The longing to know and experience the truth will then become a yoga, a process of union. Faith is very important, and Swami says, take refuge in God and wield the bow of courage. That is, hold the heart pure. That is enough. Victory and wealth are yours. Now, on the need for spirituality, Swami says, what the world needs today is neither a new order or new education or a new system. The remedy lies in a mind, in a heart filled with holiness. So success in this task can be achieved only through the knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, as Adi Shankara said. So the truth is not in the material world, which is temporary and ever-changing. Pursuing happiness in the world is tantamount to pursuit of a mirage. Only knowledge of Atma can give genuine happiness. The highest and the most valuable achievement in life is winning the mercy of God, the love of God. The love of God will give the great wisdom one needs to attain unshakable inner peace, Shanti. So one has to cultivate also the spirit of service and be engaged in good deeds that earn people's gratitude. Devotion and dedication are the roots of prosperity and peace of a society. Hence, the educational system must pay attention to the promotion and strengthening of these qualities among people. Now, we saw three kinds of happiness. One is the sattvic happiness, and the second one is rajasic happiness, and then the tamasic happiness. And then true education directs and counsels the mind and intellect towards earning sattvic happiness. The scriptures declare happiness cannot be acquired through happiness. Only by undergoing unhappiness can happiness be won. So this truth has to be instilled through spiritual education. When one knows of the bliss that pure happiness can confer, spiritual education will be found easy and palatable. Now, that which gives light is vidya. So this is the basic meaning of the word. Therefore, it is evident that only the knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya, deserves to be known as real knowledge. The ancients considered knowledge as light and ignorance as darkness. Just as light and darkness cannot coexist at the same time in the same place, knowledge and ignorance cannot exist together. In this section on manifestation of power, the Gita says that God declares, among all the knowledge system, I am the knowledge of the highest Atma. All other knowledge systems are rivers. Knowledge of the highest Atma is the ocean. Just as all rivers find fulfillment in merging in the ocean, all knowledge systems join the ocean of knowledge or the supreme Atma as their ultimate goal. Education can be considered as having two aspects, worldly education and knowledge of Brahman. Worldly education provides the wherewithal for human livelihood. On the other hand, knowledge of the Brahman endows all human beings with the strength that enables them to discharge successfully the duty they owe to themselves. It lays down the path that leads both to joy in worldly relationships as well as bliss in the life beyond. Therefore, the knowledge of Brahman is far superior to all other systems of knowledge available on earth. Knowledge of Brahman has the divine potency to liberate everyone from bondage, whereas worldly education has no such potency. Knowledge of Brahman makes you aware of the omni-self, the absolute, the highest Brahman, Parabrahman. By means of spiritual learning and austerities, one is transformed into a purified soul. So here Swami emphasizes on two aspects. One is spiritual austerity and spiritual education. Spiritual austerity or tapas enables you to merge with God. Spiritual education is the process of acquiring knowledge, whereas spiritual austerity is the known. So the first is indirect, it is the means. The second is the goal, the end. Now, Swami explains this by saying soap and water are needed to wash accumulated dirt of one's clothes. So too, both spiritual knowledge and spiritual penance are essential when one is anxious to remove the dirt that is stuck to the mind. Only when both are used can the levels of consciousness be thoroughly cleansed. The thought, speech, and act all have to be pure. This is the real austerity, spiritual austerity. On the topic of unity and diversity, Swami says, the lotus leaf is born underwater, it floats on water, but it does not get wet. So you must be in the world likewise, in it, by it, for it, but not of it. The special feature of the higher education is to prepare you for this role. On the topic of Vedic religion, Swami says the Vedic religion seeks to evaluate all theories and doctrines by the touchstone of experience. The tree is judged by its fruits, and the codes of behavior, spiritual practices, and manifestations of love all have enormous virtues which promote the progress of humanity. Each individual, Atma, can be called a Garuda bird, which soars higher and higher and gathering supranatural strength, at last reaches the solar orb with unlimited splendor and majesty. So the basic truth of creation is unity in multiplicity. Faith in God is faith in Atma. The natural sciences can provide us only with food, clothing, and the like. Only the spiritual science can add strength and steadfastness to the self. Swami says we must develop tolerance for all religions. Only one exists. The wise describe it in many ways. Swami says, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. As you feel, so you become. So when you cultivate awareness that you are the spark of God, you can become really divine and you can have command over all powers. As you feel, so you become. It is how you feel that matters most. That's the basis for all that you are. So have faith in the Atma, the self. For Bharatiyas, religion means experience, nothing less. Our position is that no achievement is worthwhile unless one earns it by one's own efforts. Imbibe only good from others. Imitation can never become culture. So we have to learn good things from others, learn about the supreme and the means of attaining it from even the lowest, learn from others how to practice progressive discipline and saturate yourself with it. But do not be transformed into those others. That means be authentic. On egoless service, Swami says, you may master 1 billion fields of study, but you have not cultivated the attitude of detachment, the mastery is of no consequence. So sharing with others, serving others, this is the main rule of spiritual knowledge. Its genuine expression. Cultivate service to all. A human is God, Nara is Narayana. Every single act has to be elevated as an act of service to God. Protecting one's motherland is a noble duty. It is the primary duty of each student. The educated person and the student undergoing education must both cultivate simplicity. They must discard ostentation. And there were the inner cleanliness and outer cleanliness, which Sai Charan explained. So we'll move into the other one. Swami says we should shun jealousy and hatred. The root cause of all anxieties and calamities of man is envy. No enemy can be so insidious as jealousy. So the students must learn to be happy and filled with joy when others are acclaimed as good and are respected for their virtues. Students must resolve to emulate those who do better than themselves and earn equal appreciation. They should strive to acquire knowledge and score marks as much as others. That is the proper ambition. The student has to transform themselves into a person with good intelligence, a Sumati, and avoid turning into a person with perverted, polluted intelligence or Durmati. So envy and hatred are the sparks that destroy the cluster of virtues in people. So eyes that seek evil, ears that relish evil, tongue that craves evil, nose that enjoys the foul, and the hands that delight in evil, these must be totally avoided. Self-confidence is very important because only self-confidence is capable of granting peace and prosperity to each person. So students must cultivate faith in moral codes laid down in Dharma Shastras instead of neglecting them. People have three instruments gifted to them, namely the mind, the power of speech, and the power of action. The mind can lead one to bondage, into deeper involvement in desires and disappointment. It can also lead one into freedom, detachment, and desirelessness. So the mind is a bundle of likes and dislikes. The mind is a seat of chewing the cud of sensual and mental experiences. That is manana. So how do we rein in the mind? The mind is engaged in two activities, that is thinking and inner dialogue. So these activities follow different lines. Thinking is intent on solving problems, whereas the mental dialogue multiplies the problems and confounds the solutions, causing confusion and adoption of wrong and ruinous means to solve them. So no one can call himself full and free unless they are succeed in stopping this evil. The Upanishads announce certain remedial practices, namely to get rid of this inner peace, to get rid of this obstacle to inner peace. The first discipline is pranayama, the second one is shravana, third one is nididhyasana, fourth one is nama japa. So these are the techniques that the Upanishads prescribe to counter this inner dialogue or manasika sambhashana. The third instrument is the body with its hands ready to execute the thought that is expressed in words. The deed, the work, the labor in which the hand is engaged are the sources of all happiness or misery in which a person is involved. So happiness and misery are due to one's own actions. Whether one accepts or rejects this truth, one has to go through all the consequences of one's action. This is the law of nature. Whatever is done, whatever is seen, whatever is heard, one should be vigilant about its purity. So thought, word, and deed must be free from pride, greed, and hatred. Everything has energy latent in it. When the latent energy is exhausted, death results. When energy fills, birth happens. So being, awareness, bliss, Sat Chit Ananda is energy. So V is Sat, R is Chit, happy is Ananda. So energy is all, energy is derived from God. That is the very basis of all people. So we must practice brotherhood of man and fatherhood of God. Now I invite Brother Kamal to give his concluding remarks. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Vidya Vahani, the sacred textbook, contains 19 chapters, and each chapter had its significance on spiritual education. Going through the Vidya Vahani in an hour time is indeed a very challenging. With Bhagwan's grace, I would like to thank our panelists who have very well provided an insight and highlights of Vidya Vahani in today's study circle session. With this, I am confident that this session would have incited our members to further go and read through the Vidya Vahani book. Now I take this opportunity to thank Swami for giving us opportunity for the smooth conduct of this program. I extend my gratitude to Sri Satya Sai Global Council, Middle East and Gulf and Jones Chair and senior leaders, management committee members for giving Abu Dhabi team an opportunity to have this study circle on Vidya Vahini. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram Vikramji, with this we are concluding. After that, the closing prayers.
First of all, Jai Sai Ram to all the presenters. Really, they have done very good. Only few points there. Maybe you must be knowing that also. First, when Sister Bharti started the prayer and song, so in that time, what will be on the screen that time?
That time we will going to be put Swami's one picture will be there.
Yeah, something should be there. And what time the Veda and what time will Veda chanting start?
Sai Ram, actually, we are not planned for the Veda chanting. We are, if you want to do the Veda chanting, 50 minutes before we need to be started.
Even if we are not doing at least a few minutes before the time, at least some instrumental music or Swami's Darshan
Yeah,
music, something.
that is darshan video.
Something should, so that by the time people join, there should be something on the screen.
Yeah, sure. 50 minutes before the Swami's darshan videos will be there.
Right. And when Sister Bharti was presenting, I think she has to put on the full screen mode because that next slide was also visible. So next time she has to be just careful of that.
Yeah.
And whenever one speaker is finishing their talk, they can finish by saying, this is end of chapter, 5 or 6 or whatever, and over to Brother Muthuraman, because Brother Muthuraman is, coordinating between the speakers. So over to him or something, so that
actually what we plan to avoid all these things, no? We will actually, Muthuraman and Brother Satya will come in between and they are taking over.
Okay. Then it's fine. But just for the point that people who are there means that, but others will not know whether it is ended or not. So at least one can say, speaker can say, Jai Sai Ram. Jai Sai Ram means no, my talk is finished. Then other can take up that.
Actually, what our plan is that immediately once the last slide, the Swami's picture comes, no, that time itself, Brother Muthuraman and or Brother Satya will come up and they will ask these questions and.
Okay, fine. That is fine.
Today I just made a small mistake. I just muted while I was talking, so I just realized.
No problem, sir. No problem. And then Sister Vidya's, there was a problem in that video. I think that you will sort out that issue.
Yeah, that's a technical error. I think the Zoom, no, you want to be put that, share the audio also. It might be share not by done. We will check it that.
No, that's a technical problem just. And Brother Sai Charan, this video was good, but the audio of that has, sound level has to be increased. That was not that much clarity was not there. Or maybe the video is like that. Just check that point if sound can be better. The video he played.
Yeah, we'll check.
Yeah, check. And then one point I wanted to ask. In the end, Brother Muthuraman spoke about all the chapter. That was a narration, or I mean, what was that part?
He planned for a summary of all the Vidya Vahini, and he will be giving a summary. Actually, this part actually we want to do some more corrections, and he's going to be another 1 or 2 days. We have to correct it also. This is a summary.
Muthuramanji, I have one suggestion for you. If you feel appropriate, like when each presenter is talking of few chapters, so between the other starts, you can there itself add your points to that chapters, and then let the next one come. So it doesn't become your narration in the end or your summary in the end. It doesn't become too long for you, because without break you have to speak so long. So you can also, it's a suggestion. I mean, if you feel appropriate.
Actually, what we plan, we plan this as a study circle, like discussions. So we don't want to put any summary there, and we thought to do all the summary after the discussions. That's our plan. If you want, we will change it now.
Yeah, so whatever you have planned, but this part, if you're already aware of this to correct it, that you can correct in 1 or 2 days, because
that we are going to be reduce that one. Actually, it is.
Yeah, it was quite a lengthy one, and many points were repetition of what was done in the earlier slides.
I will edit it, because I have to really bring it down to just the Mahavakyas, instead of going in length. So I have to edit it. Yeah.
It's going to be below 10 minutes only. Going to be editing.
Yeah, mainly you are very experienced, Muthuramanji. You know it that only the major points, like essence of the Vahini, not the points. Basically, essence. What Bhagwan has told about this. Just we have to say that. So that point, if we are taking care, then I think all are technical matters, so that can be sorted out.
Yes.
Actually, what's our plan? Like this study circle full going to be a discussions only. Like initially we thought to be in between the questions, but later we cancelled that questions. So only as a filler, Brother Muthuramanji and Brother Satya will come, and today Satya was not there. That's why. Yeah, that's why it was been Muthuramanji has been confused. Means 2 times he has to come. So it will come as a filler between Brother Satya and Muthuramanji. Once the study circle is completed, So whole summary, we will reduce the time between 5 to 10 minutes. It will be reduced. Then not going to this much lengthy on that.
Good, good. That is good. And I mean, that is all because once, one point. There was a background music going on for some time, but after that, it was not going on. So
Actually,
are we keeping?
no, we are going to take out the background music. Initially, we planned some of the slides, Sister Bharati's slides. She made it with the background music. Once actually we done the rehearsal, we found some of the disturbance with the background music and the discussions. So we thought to be remove the background music. So
Better because that's better. That's
yeah, we are going to be remove the background music, everything, and this is going to be correct by today, tomorrow, and Tuesday again we'll have one more session, and we'll check all the slides, and finally we have a backup slide with in the center location also. So anything happen, we will upload that slide.
We'll be having this session on YouTube link only.
Actually, today we tested the YouTube instead of because if you want to go with the Zoom, then again we have to be 500 people. But if you can the other viewers, we can put it in the YouTube. That's going to be an easy to view it. That's our plan.
No, it was good actually. It was good. The videos were very clear. Some of the videos are very clear, and audio was also very clear. It was good. No issues.
Yeah, we tested in the YouTube also. It is working well. But tomorrow again we'll test one more time. If any issues, we will not put it in the Zoom for the listeners. Listeners can give the YouTube, and only the panelists and who are going to speak, they are only available in the Zoom.
And one more slightly, when Brother Balan and Sister Vidya are speaking, so they are putting the bullet points in each slide. So in between they can say, Swami says, I mean, Swami has said this, Swami has said this, in between just slightly, then their narration they can add, Swami has said we have to do this, so slightly they can add. Sai Charan has done in that, but this way, because what all we are speaking there as a speaker, that is all said by Swami only, right? It's not our words. So in between, sometimes we can say Swami has told about this, Swami says what Swami says about this. Lightly, we have to reframe that. Only these points are from my side. Then Brother Satyapalan can further add if he has some points.
Okay, Sairam, thank you. Thank you.
Sairam.
Sairam. My most humble and loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan. Loving Sairam, dear brothers and sisters. This is really a wonderful presentation, a beautiful presentation. It is congratulations to Brother Sajeev and all the team members who are presented that one. So, I mean, I would like to say that it's a Sattvic way of presentation, certainly. Okay, I mean, you are emphasizing on Sattva-guna. Okay, for Vidya, Sattva-guna is very important. So, it is very good. So, I mean, let me start from the few things what we are not, because our intention is not to, I mean, find out some faults or nothing like that. So that what we can, even if little, whatever is noticed, we can correct, so that it will be a more perfect offering to Swami. So, Brother Sajeev, I mean, in your first introductory talk, okay, welcoming all, I think you are a little worried about the time, so you are very fast.
Actually, sir, I don't have any plan to do today, but then suddenly I decided to start.
Because your inner feeling of time constraint is affecting in your talk. Okay, so what you want, anyway, that all is in a Sattvic way, so you, that not to be very fast, okay, that medium speed you have to maintain. Okay, this is, that would be, then it would be very nice. Okay. Amen. Okay, slowly, don't worry. I mean, total how many minutes is coming all program?
Actually, we planned for 1 hour plus 20 minutes, concluding everything. 1 hour 20 minutes.
So that means you have further refinement of some of the presenters.
Now only Muthuramanji's
okay, Muthuramanji, I think I will come to that.
Cut down.
That's going to be cut down.
Okay, that is good. Okay. So, I mean, see, what I am telling is what I have noticed only. Okay, this is a small things only. The rest all is very good. The way it is spelled out, it is presented, and everything is very beautiful. Okay, so let me come to the small things what I have noticed so that we can correct it there itself. Sister Bharati, okay, it was very well presented. Okay, I saw that in her slide number 12. Okay, one word, I mean, one quote was there. Okay, liberation, freedom from, I mean, freedom from life and death. It should be freedom from birth and death, right? Okay, freedom from life is not appropriate. Just look into that. Okay, see that one. Okay, slide number 12. Okay.
Okay.
Sairam, I think it is cycle of birth and death, no?
Yeah, no, it is mentioned there freedom from. That is
No,
right.
it is
Liberation.
written.
You said liberation. Just to look into that slide. Maybe I may be wrong. This is what I remember. Okay. I mean, maybe I may be wrong. Okay. I'm just pointing out liberation. It is on top. There is one quote.
Moksha is
Moksha,
there. Then
liberation.
yeah,
Liberation.
that is
Yeah.
cycle of birth and death.
Yeah.
So it is representing that freedom from birth and death.
Death,
So
not
that,
life. It is their life. Okay. It is not freedom from life. So I'm a
birth and
freedom
death.
from birth and death. Okay, these are minor things. Don't feel, sister. I mean,
No,
to
no,
say
no, no, no. I
only
am
thing
not
is
feeling
No,
that
that.
no, sir. We want the
But we have
correction.
to.
Only we can.
We that is the reason actually we
the
need.
reason of a trial is that even whatever
to
the things
correct it.
what we notice,
Yeah, and
I
today
mean, we
actually,
can.
I was not able to come to the presenter mode because I got
But
this
you
thing
very well,
sharing
very
also.
nicely presented. Very nicely, Satvik. Yeah, that's why I tell now all the presenters presented very nicely. The Satvik way of presentation because the topic is Vidya. Okay. So I mean, it's very. That's why I like the presentation. Really speaking, I mean, spoke in a very nice way. Okay. You also presented very nicely. Only minor thing I noticed is this one only. Okay.
No, the
So don't
sharing
feel that.
actually, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. We are not feeling. We need actually, we need to correct ourselves because you are telling for our good that it should be presented in a right way. But the
Yeah.
presenting on that day, I'm concerned that like I should get the sharing and that should all come
Yes,
in
yeah,
fall into
yeah.
place correctly
That
because
trial, next trial, Sajeev, you plan so that
Sister,
SAS
that day we will check it because today we didn't. That day we'll check it all these things.
Okay. So I mean, because you have presented well, that's why I'm picking only the minor things,
no, sir,
small things.
you can tell us everything so that like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good. We
It is
need
a
to.
it's a teamwork. It is a
Yes,
teamwork, I
definitely.
mean, whatever things with a good intention, always we can do. Okay, we can better it. Okay,
Because today
that's
only
all.
we are doing this time only we are doing the Mananan. Till now we are
Yeah.
only Shravan. We were only hearing it.
Actually, this is
Now,
a first rehearsal.
for us
Okay, okay.
also.
So certainly you will better it, you will improve it, and but even otherwise it is good. Okay, very perfectly. I mean, I liked it very much. Okay.
Thank you so
So,
much.
yeah. So secondly, I mean, let me come to Sundar Balan's slide. Here also I have see because we have the intentions. We just critically look into all the things. Okay, that's why I'm just pointing out. Okay, like in the slide, he has mentioned pupils, gurus, and avatars. Guru G is not capital. You see, because it is showing big in the screen. Okay, that way. I mean, see pupils, gurus, and avatars. G you can make it. Capital, right?
Sure, Sarah. I'll make
Yeah.
it.
And also, Sundar Balan, I mean, Vedo, I mean, in the pronunciation, you try to correct that properly, not kilo. Akhilo is the meaning, okay? Vedha kilo, akhilo should be the meaning, akhila, not kilo. When you speak that kilo is emphasized, okay? There is one Veda, something is there. The correct pronunciation, Mutiramji, you can consult Mutiramji, just check with each other and just try to give the, when you, I mean, see, when you speak, especially, we are not expert in Sanskrit, okay? But when I heard that some emphasis is given on when you read that one kilo, and it is not kilo like that, okay? Similarly, I have noticed also, I mean, one of the slides, Madrudevo Bhavo, Madrudevo Bhava like that. And last you are telling no idarani. It could be na, not no. No, it's English. Okay. Maybe I am wrong. I'm just asking you to check. This is what I have, I mean, noticed. I am only telling. Maybe I am also wrong. Okay. Just check that one. Madrudevo Bhava, that slide last. Na idarani, Sanskrit may be correct. Not no. Okay, and no Itarani is there. Itarani is all this. Okay, Madhudevo Bhava, that quote. Okay, that just check that one. Okay.
Okay.
So I mean, these are minor things. You should not think why Satyapal is taking up all those things. Okay.
No, sir, we want that correction. Then only we
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah. We need the feedback. Yeah, Saira.
Yeah. So I mean, need for spirituality. When he was presenting that slide again, need for spirituality in the second slide it is coming. You need some little changes in the way you talk. Okay, speak about it, because second slide also is need for spirituality. Only the same bullet points coming. Okay, I mean what you are explaining, but the need for spirituality first you concluded. It appears like that is another slide also. It is coming like a duplication like that. So that just see, okay, for a better way of presentation. Okay, so next Sister Vidya's presentation, I think Brother Vikram has already pointed out about this video clip. You have clarified that one. I am not at that one. I'm just telling that one. Okay, we will correct that. Okay, then yeah.
Audio, that's right.
Yeah, then this presentation, that is, there is a presentation for education, right? And there is, in fact, that presentation of education should come, that slide should come after, because in between there is a interaction with Brother Muthuraman. That slide should come after Brother Muthuraman's questions. That would be better. Okay, with the sequence, in the sequence. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And also, as Brother Vikram pointed out, I also noticed that, I mean, Sister Vidya, when you finish that, just say Sai Ram. Okay. You said it after a long pause because Muthuramanji was muted. Okay. So once you finish that, you say Sai Ram and say something and get back to, I mean, get connected. That continuity should be there.
So actually, what we planned earlier, not to say anything end and starting, because it should be a continuous discussion between each one. So that's why nobody.
It is true. I mean, the thing is how, I mean, see, it is a video. It is not an it's an
now what happened, like now there was a Muthuramanji's mic was mute at that time. So
yeah, it's true. And what I mean is that it's online. These are the online problems. Okay.
Yes.
If it is live, there is not a problem like this. It's online.
At least we can be ready if by chance that day also some delay is there, then speaker can say Sai Ram and they disconnect and switch off their camera. No,
it is what I suggest is that all presenters should be ready with their relevant chapters, something to say if not getting connected back to Muthuramanji. Okay, so that vacuum can be filled.
Sure, sir.
If something, just keep it as a reserve in case something is happening. Okay, you continue, then get back to. Okay. So yeah. So this is like that. The presentation is very good. Okay, Sister Vidya is presenting on Vidya. Very nice. Sai Ram. Sai Ram. So next about Sai Charan. Okay. So Adveshta Sarva, it's okay. Here I noticed that sense control. Okay, it is this sense control slide, I think, better present after Swami's discourse. This is one thing. Okay, because see, the sense control Sai Charan or Brother Vidya, I think Sai Charan presented, right?
Not me.
It is Sai Charan's presentation. Okay, in that, I mean, there is a Swami's discourse. Okay, and Swami is mentioning about the sense control. Okay, and you start with the slide sense control and speaking about the mind control. Okay, all the points are about the mind control, but the heading is of that sense control. So there should be some connection, like mind control through sense control. Okay, of course, sense control is before that mind control activities coming, in fact. So there should be some connection there with the Swami's discourse, what you present and what you talk about as the content. In the sense control slide, you will see all is talking about the mind control, mananam, or whatever that's what we have mentioned in that sequence. I mean, just reframe and that discourse and all connect it well, so that there will be a continuity for that, and that will be, I mean, relevant also. Okay. So another is coming to Muthuramji's presentation. Muthuramji, I mean, just a little be careful about the camera. You are all, I mean, throughout we have seen only your head. We want to see your heart also.
Okay, I'll have to check this before the presentation.
Before Sajeev also. So I mean Sajeev and whoever is in media control, what they should have a back channel things and anything, some communication. In case something is there, you cannot tell like that. So just send a message or something that so that they can rectify that one. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, if there is any okay. And another thing I noticed is, of course, Muntaramji clarified also, Vikram has pointed out also about this, and Muntaramji needs to be very specific on the essentials, what take home, I mean, that should reach the heart. It is better to speak only few things, okay, because then that will remain in the heart forever. Okay, so try to be very brief, okay, in your final summary, and
capture
that
the Mahavakyas.
Mahavakyas, the final conclusion that should reach the heart of the listeners. Okay,
Actually, that's our aim also. That's only because after all the presentation, Muktaramanji will bring the core of the Vidya Vahini only. But unfortunately, we are editing only that part. So it will go down 5 minutes, between
I know
5.
that he has to reduce that one. What I mean is, whatever he presents is concluding his take-home final messages. Okay, it should be brief, and it should, they should that should be the, I mean, main takeaway from this presentation, right? So that should be brief, and it should avoid making so many things. Okay, water is very essential. Okay, what is the need for it? It should not we should not miss the important points as well. Okay, he knows very well, he is very brilliant in that. Okay, so he will do that one. When he edits that one, he will do that one. Okay, then another thing I noticed, a small thing, don't feel like that, so Mutaramji, I feel that when you speak about that Brahma Satyam, not Satya, when we speak about that
Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mityam,
you have mentioned Satya. Okay. Okay, I mean, these are small things, because overall it is, I mean, just telling of what we have noticed. That's all. Okay, so these are the, I mean, minor things what I have noticed. The rest of the things, I don't for the to avoid the duplication. Brother Vikram has pointed out very nicely all the other things. Okay, so I don't want to repeat all the things again. Okay, and another important general thing what I would like to remind you about, Sajeev, the audio and video should be mute when they join, because we have experienced many programs. If it is not controlled, then after that it's very difficult.
That was the reason we are going to be, all the listeners, we are going to try to give the YouTube link only. So only the presenters will be there in the Zoom.
Sajeev, we can make only the co-host basically can unmute and mute, and all the participants will be muted for the video and audio. We can
that would be best.
Also, we can share in the chat box that if anyone has any question or any clarification to ask, they can put it into the chat box, and later on it can be answered. Yeah.
Sir, that cases we have to go to the Zoom only, because YouTube we cannot be put it in the chat.
Okay, no problem then. No problem.
And you can mention that if you have any questions, you share with your country presidents to share with the Brother Vikram. Okay, because you are not covering.
Otherwise, we have to go to the Zoom only. Then they can.
No. When you are speaking in the beginning, you can inform everyone that if you during the presentation, if you have any questions, clarifications, or suggestions, please email to such and such.
Okay.
So once again, thank you very much, and let us express gratitude to Swami for giving this wonderful opportunity. Once again, I thank you all and congratulate all of you for your wonderful work and a very nice presentation. Okay, I am sure it will come out very well. Let us pray for Swami's grace and blessings and his guidance in your next. You have another practice session, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Swami will guide you certainly. Okay. So let us pray, and all the best wishes to you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram to all.
Sai Ram. Sir, all the points we are noted, and we'll correct it. What are the corrections we have to do? We'll do it. And thank you for correcting all the points of Vikram Ji and Satyavalji. And you have been, you went through all the slides. So that's we will correct all the points I have noted, and we'll correct it, and we'll do the next presentation. Before that, we have 1 or 2 practice session more, and praying to Swami to deliver a good study circle sessions.
It surely will be very nice. It will be very blissful and very nice. Yes.
And especially it's a vidya vahani, so
Yeah.
And thank you all. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Do you conclude with the Shanti Mantra, no?
Yeah, sure, we'll do it.
And what about after concluding? After concluding, what you will be playing?
We are playing Asdoma and Arati.
Arati.
So overall, after your next practice session, time you work out very well, and all together in any way.
Actually, our plan was 55 minutes will go for the panel presentation. After that, another 5 minutes to 10 minutes, maximum 5 to 10 minutes between summary for all the points. So then 5 minutes for the vote of thanks. I mean, it's a conclusion by Brother Kamal. Then 10 minutes for the other closing prayers, Sasadoma prayer and Mangalarati. So all together it comes around 1 hour 20 minutes. But today it went little up because
including your concluding prayer, make it 1:30. It should not exceed 1:30.
That's what I was saying, that always when there are 4 presenters and narration, there is a buffer of 5 to 7 minutes.
Our plan is 1 hour 20 minutes. Maximum it will go 1 hour. 1 hour.
No issue at all. You have the time for 1 hour closing at 1 hour 20 minutes, then 10 minutes for Mangalarti and Vibhuti Mantra and Astoma.
1.5 hours.
1 hour 30 minutes is adequate. I mean, no issues.
1.5 hours is okay. Okay, but it is a study circle. No, even your local study circle, you are conducting 1.5 hours.
So that's you will go maximum 1 hour. Our planning 1 hour 20 minutes. So if here and there something is there,
certainly. Okay. In your next practice, somebody note the timing.
Sir, we already noted the time of the presenters, but other things we added today only. That's why.
In fact, Satyapalaji, today also I have noted down they took around 1 hour 27 minutes, even after without editing. So definitely when they will edit, they will reduce only. So
today it's 1 hour 28 minutes.
I said, Satya also will be there and Muthuramji.
Yeah.
As much as you try to see how much extra time is taking.
No, and sir. Actually, including Brother Satya and Brother Muthuram, this one we took 55 minutes only together. Okay. But all what Brother Satya
today mainly because Muthuramji has to edit that one. He was reading all the things. That's why. Okay.
Yeah. Because today only he done that.
This final one. Then certainly everything will be within.
Now, Muthuramanji, before starting itself, he told he not edited this one. We want to be presented. So
this is the second draft. I have to go to the 10th draft to get it really.
And I could see he was reading. I said he also knows, but
he told before starting itself. He told actually.
Yeah.
No, because the thing is the content is so rich. I'm really trying to. As Satyapalaji correctly said, just get only the main, the
takeaway points only. Mainly, our plan to take away the important points at the last.
Is something like a take-home message. What this Vahani Bhagwan has given the message to devotees. Just convey that. Just convey that.
Okay.
Thank you, Bharati. Sister Bharati, Bharati, the Shanti Mantra.
Sai Ram. No, actually, I felt today. Muthuram sir, he is supposed to speak and we the presenters. We don't have the actual content. He's rich with all the content, and we are just like Arjuna, confused over all the things. So we need the help of Krishna. Thank you so much for all your feedback. Sai Ram.
Sister, you can do this.
समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.